We are live, vocal dialect back in the building. I'm Knowledge Born 7. Kim Ward Moore, my partner in crime, as well as Gerald Moore from the Street Law Soldier, brother Shaka Sankofa from the Street Law Soldier going to join us later. We was waiting on it. We went ahead and started. The topic is, go ahead and get a topic, Ken.
Why do we as black people consistently beef with each other? Why do we do that? Okay, first
Right.
I want to say welcome to Vocal Dialect. I appreciate everyone who consistently joined the show. We're on the road to 500 subscribers. Help us get to 500 subscribers, y'all. Yeah, and also you could y'all can check us out on TikTok, Facebook, and IG as well as Vocal Dialect. So the topic is, why do black people, we as black people, melanated people, consistently beef with each other? Because what I see, we beef over politics, we beef over different ideologies, we beef over sports, anything you can think of, we consistently beef with each other, especially on this internet. We beef hard on this internet. And so why is that? What do y'all think, brothers?
I think a lot of times that we get in such confrontations and controversy is over the fact that I don't think we know how to talk to each other politely, cordially, understandably, lovingly, gracefully. I mean, and etc. We get a lot of arguments about the things that they say we shouldn't be talking about, which we should be addressing, such as politics, religion, uh, sports, and other things. And we should be able to have a calm conversation when we talk about those things, because unless you're getting paid for it, I don't see why it should be any sort of confrontation. Because, as they say, you have the freedom of speech. Speech and dialect should be about anything that you figure you want to cover without having to have aggression inputted into that particular conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I say really, especially with this internet, man, because we the only race of people that act like this, man. It's on the internet acting crazy, man. And people from all over the world see this, man. And they think we all like that. Even with the so-called conscious community, like with Sinetta, it was a good thing. It was a good thing, man. Brothers had a lot of information from different ideologies. They speak very well, charismatic and everything. But look what it turned to. Beef. Beef.
I think people generally, I think they thrive off of violence or of any, because you sitting on the internet trolling people. That's a lot of waste of time to be looking for something to be in arguments about or constantly at each other about, especially in our community. It's the women, it's the daughter against the mother against the daughter, the father against the son against the father, the sister against the brother. I mean, that's too much going on. The husband against the wife. I mean, it's a constant battle of nothing. Only
Why do
reason why only reason why we generally run into that type of ripple effect is because we don't know how to talk to each other. People take a solemn word and then they run with it. They don't listen to the whole conversation. I done had that happen too many times. If you disagree with them, they upset with you. You just have to learn to say, you know what, you can agree to disagree and don't have that particular animosity because you didn't agree with that person, you mad at that person. Some people go on for days with it. I just walk away, leave it alone. Let you stay in your space, Stay with your order. Just don't pass it this way. Keep that over there. I don't mean no harm with people. Just keep that over there.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, sir.
With any conflict as far as dealing with us as a people, we have to look at a few things. One is definitely the community, and having conflict in the community is not unusual for us as a people. So tensions, public feuds, we always have tension because we always under some form of stress. We always gonna have tensions. There are always a public feuds. You know, I went home for Labor Day, but not to celebrate Labor Day. We had a cousins day, which was pretty good. Turned out pretty good. So then I came back home here in Georgia, and I saw on Facebook the night I came back they had a fight at the gas station. So we are always gonna have something going on because we are the ones to be oppressed. I hate to say that, but it's true. I tell people all the time, the American dream is everyone making money off of Black people. Everybody coming to our communities, everything that we do for us as a people, we're always infiltrated. And we have not been given the proper time to heal as a people, especially with dealing with slavery. We always under some form of attack. You know, even now, you know, when the thing was going on with the Latinos, Hispanics, they were saying, why we not saying anything? But they didn't say anything when it was going down with Michael Brown. They didn't say anything when it was going down with other things that happened in the community as far as us. So the trauma is there if we don't get help. A lot of other races get help with trauma. A lot of other races get free therapy. We don't get free therapy. We have to go pay for therapy. You know what I'm saying? And then the social media classes, because we got a lot of keyboard bandits, and which can lead sometimes to public confrontations. But no one looks at that. A lot of people. Let me tell you something. When I was in school, you had people that was punks, and you had people who wouldn't say a word. Now you got the punks and the people who didn't say a word on social media saying a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. So my honest examination is, for us looking at history, we are always in survival mode. We always have some form of urgency, and we're always dealing with trauma.
Correct. I agree with you. Now, if we look at that whole spectrum, you know, we need to go back to this Willie Lynch letter and this Willie Lynch mindset, because of when you look at it as a whole, no other race of people have had a doctrine such as the Willie Lynch letter. The Latinos didn't have a Willie Lynch letter. The whites didn't have one. The Asians didn't have a Willie Lynch letter. Only us. And it was implemented to the point where it's now, if you will look at it as Wi-Fi, we at 20G in terms of our Willie Lynch chips being activated. And it shows, and Knowledge said, you know, the oppressive part. We've always been oppressed. And so, and every time we manage on a whole to shake oppression off or come to some medium, there's always those individuals that have been bought and sold that push the agenda to ensure that we remain oppressed, to ensure that no one thinks outside the box, to ensure that no one comes up on any level, whether it's spiritually, mentally, physically, economically, and what have you. And so it's just been passed down from generation to generation to generation to generation. And when you look at Jim Crow, the civil rights, the civil wrongs movement, and so many other things that have been plaguing us to keep us divided, to implement and implant the seed of inferiority in our minds, which doesn't enable us to even have no type of love and understanding and cohesiveness to our brothers and sisters. This is by design. We weren't brought here with that type of energy. We were not brought here with that type of energy. And what we failed to do as a people, we have accepted and indoctrinated the seed of self-hatred. And now we proudly wear our self-hatred as a badge of honor. So it's real cool and hard to look at your brothers and sisters, and and it's more comfortable to bring harm to your reflections because of the self-hatred that exists within the individual. And so what has to take place is there's going to have to be a paradigm shift, and those who are complicit, our politicians, entertainers, athletes, etc., who are complicit into pushing these agendas to keep us oppressed on the whole. See, oppression brings self-hatred. It brings low self-esteem. It brings low self-worth. It brings uncertainty. It brings confusion. It brings anger. It brings rage. And then those that are surrounded in those same environments, in those same mindsets, clash. And so this is where, these people set this shit up like this, and then they set the play up, have us hating one another, have us destroying, killing one another, and then they'll sit back and say, look what they're doing. Nobody else on this planet has had this type of devastation and oppression and degradation than us. Once again, there has never been any type of letter to separate the dark-skinned Latino from the light-skinned Latinos, the light-skinned Asians from the dark-skinned Asians. There hasn't been anything of that nature. It's been specifically designed for us. And so, these Willie Lynch chips have to be deactivated. Now, I don't think there's no sole solution to deactivate this Willie Lynch chip that exists within all of us. Some of us have had the ability to see, what's been going on and what's been done to us, and have been able to, deactivate our Willie Lynch chips, in order to see that there is a Willie Lynch chip, because a lot of our people on the masses on the whole don't even know that they are functioning off this Willie Lynch syndrome, and this energy of self-hatred and self-destruction and destruction of those who look like them, their own images and reflections. And so it's been and when you look at the Willie Lynch letter, it said that this type of energy will last for hundreds, maybe thousands of years. And you talking about from, the 1700s to the 21st century. So and in that time it just has snowballed and snowballed to the point where we're comfortable with self-destruction and self-hatred. The trash in our communities that don't give a damn attitude to not having the conscience and taking the lives of one another. But we never look at the root cause. We always look at the outcome. We have to look at the root cause, because it's easy to say we hate each other and want to blame one another, blame various individuals. But let's look at the system as a whole. Each and every day they come up with plots and plans, laws, legislations to pass that we stay in these oppressive, depressive, suppressive conditions, which ultimately leads to us having self-hatred and low self-esteem and no regard for Black human life. So, you know, it's going to take, you know, individuals like yourselves to continue just to, you know, be that hope and just stand on business and not give up, because we were sent here to break these particular chains and these cycles, and to hopefully that people will adhere to that. Because when you look at it as a whole, most people know that they're dealing with self-hatred and low self-esteem, and like Knowledge was saying, how we have to even pay, you know, to get therapy, to have to receive assistance on having our Willie Lynch chips deactivated by people such as us, you know, people who are divinely gifted to assist our people in deactivating these chips, you know. So there's various solutions, you know. One is economics, counseling, family love, self-love, you know, doing, you know, going be above and beyond in terms of being more firmly entrenched in the community, allowing people to see that change is possible, allowing our people to see the difference in self-hatred and self-love. A lot of our people haven't actually visually seen or experienced self-love, you know, and we have to also deal with, and a lot of people don't want to, when it gets to this part, a lot of people start cringing up. We got to deal with these motherfuckers that push these agendas that look like us, you know, that assist in this global oppression of our people. We have to deal with them, and we have to deal with them swiftly and severely, because they have no conscience when it comes to ensuring that we remain oppressed, that we continue abortion and drug addiction and flooding the drugs in the community, and foreign assault weapons, and domestic violence, child and sex trafficking. You know, these people are, that look like you and I, politicians, police task force, councilmen, you know, ANC commissioners. They are complicit into assuring this, you know, and we have to deal with that, you know, because we're not going to be able to solve this problem just by having no group. It's just not, that's not going to work. And we have to be active, and the people have to see the change. And this is why, you know, these charlatans like Ken Waddle was talking about, these people that come to the Black community, these great orators and all these nigger intellectuals that, you know, deceive our people and lead them on a road to false hope, you know, and financially rape the poor of their earnings, you know, selling them dreams, which makes it extremely difficult for those who are truly committed into change and wanting to see change in our communities, and wanting to see us grow as a people, and wanted to see Black love, because we have never experienced liberation. None of us. We don't even know how Black liberation, Black emancipation, and Black independence even smells like. We only can envision it. We only can envision it. We don't know what it is to be free. You know, we don't know. You know,
and that's the whole plan. That's the whole plan. I believe we would never know.
Exactly. You know, and so some drastic changes must be made. You know, and each and every one of you on this. Go ahead, Ken.
We gotta change it ourselves, though, Shaka.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say the same thing.
It's got to be on the individual, man. You know, to me, listen. Man. To me, it look like we like beefing with each other.
We've been conditioned. We've been conditioned to take pride in beefing and disrespecting killing one another. You know, this is why I said we have to be active. You know, we have to be active and firmly entrenched to do our best. We only can do our best, man, to set a precedence and be examples of hope for those who are dealing with that level of self-hatred. And another aspect of self-hatred is your own personal traumas, your own personal pains, your own personal hardships. You know, that plays a major role into how you feel about yourself. And, you know, along with what's been passed down in your DNA, which has been post-traumatic slave disorder, Willie Lynch, self-hatred, you know, and I think that only us can fix us. That's the bottom line. You know, we can't wait for any handouts. We can't wait for some savior to swoop down and child shoes and a robe. And none of that's going to happen. None of that's going to happen. The only way we can fix us, we have to fix us, period.
Yeah, but also, don't you think they have to start collectively with not only this small group, but that has to expand about so others can get involved also to help?
Of course, of course. This is why
Okay.
I go to the scripture about the 144,000. And I truly, honestly think that there will only be 144,000 that's going to rise to the occasion, you know, out of the 20 to 40 million of Black people. And the rest will continue to either not know, not grow, be comfortable in their captivity because they don't know what freedom looks like. And then you're going to have a large majority that are going to continue to keep, you know, the dissension in terms of who God is the best and who believes this and we're this and we're that. You know, we're the only people that do that dumb shit. We're the only people that do this idiot ass shit. We're the only people that do that. And it brings mass dissension. It brings hysteria. It brings spiritual confusion. It brings emotional castration. It brings uncertainty. And it puts our people who are searching for knowledge of self to put them in a position where they have to pick sides and choose sides, whether they agree with the concepts and the ideologies or not. And, you know, that part of our growth and development will hinder us, will be a great hindrance to us.
Brother Sean says, hate is the new love and love is the new hate.
Hey, yeah.
You know, that's true.
Yeah.
But also, you know, dealing with that, man. We still dealing with colorism. We still dealing with Asian gender division. We still dealing with class and status, mistrust and a lack of unity. You know, I think if it's not Sean or somebody, one of you guys told me this. The Mercedes Benz was the most bought car amongst Black people now. So it's like a token piece, as to say, like, we made it. You know, that falls upon the class and status. You know, then you think about the mistrust and the lack of unity. Now, to have trust is to be, I don't hate on you. I try to surround myself with brothers that don't mind seeing me grow. That don't mind seeing me getting a bag if I get a bag. You know what I'm saying? And then in the place of that, when you get the bag, are you going to do right by the bag? A lot of times I understand we got bills. We got, you know, the rat race or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because as long as you're on this commercial board, you don't have to pay a bill. Electric power, something, water, car, no insurance. These are the games that they play. This is the world of commerce. This is the monopoly board. 1933 Parker Brothers, they gave you the monopoly board to teach you about commerce. But in the whole scope of things, we have to learn how to trust each other. We got to have each other backs. And that falls upon a lack of unity because we got the crab mentality. I don't have it, but a lot of other people do have it. People feel like if you have more money than them, then you know it's gonna be a problem.
It's crazy.
You know, and a lot of people don't take into consideration of things that happen. You know, I can say this. Okay, when I met Ken Wardo, we started doing business. We started doing apparel. You know, and he was selling some of my stuff. You know, I had a quota I wanted to meet, and lo and behold, I started networking. I started meeting that quota. But it wouldn't have happened if I didn't surround myself around people who actually trust me and who actually unify with me. That's the whole thing. I encourage brothers all the time. And a lot of brothers be like, why you encourage? I had a brother tell me one time, why you encourage me, man? You know nothing ain't gonna happen. I said, man, why would you say that? Why would you curse
You know,
yourself?
but like they got a messed up mindset from the giddy up.
Yeah, why would you curse yourself? Sometimes we do
Yeah,
it without even knowing that we cursing ourselves.
yeah.
We put our own selves in bad positions. One thing Shaka said I like it is we the only race that got a Willie Lynch letter. Ain't that crazy? That goes to show you what I said is true. Where the American dream is every other race making money off of us. Why are we the only race that has a Willie Lynch? I never thought about that.
Me neither.
We are the only race that has a Willie Lynch letter.
Yeah, because that's what when he was speaking of that, he was talking about the dissension. See, when the Willie Lynch letter was written, it was predicated to the woman, because the woman is the one that's supposed to be really. They say we the head of the household, but who controls the household? The woman does. So the woman put fear in the children and gonna tell her husband to be careful. Then that fear permeates. When that fear starts to permeate, you gonna get that type of reaction. You gonna get where the kids now they fearful of this. But they're not fearful of somebody that look like them, is what Shaka was saying. But when you start talking about other races, man, they give the other races more credence than they give their own. So
Right.
we're gonna have that problem. But in order to keep this from descending on from this point on, we have to take, as I said, a very intricate road. I mean, I know a lot of us got trauma. I had trauma. I don't know nobody that don't have trauma. But until we take it and stop being selfish and being selfless, that's when we're gonna start arriving. And until then, we're gonna keep down this rabbit hole that we keep talking about day in and day out. And then the biggest thing is the problem is because when you interfere, like they say with that, they're gonna stop it. You could talk about how the Black Panthers did things, how Tunsil did what he did, having his starting his own town, his own militia, and they poisoned him and put him in jail. So we can go on with all these stories about it, but until we come together and solidify ourselves, we're gonna always be in this same predicament. We have to change our way of thinking. That's the most important thing. The mentality and the psychologicalness of what they approach. We have to get out of that psychological band, get that bandage off, peel it off, and start working with everything. Work with our kids, talk to them, let the kids talk to the other kids. The best thing they had in slavery was done orally. It was taught amongst each other.
Right.
Hey, I'm not read what Trey said the first day.
You say who?
Trey, I read it. He said,
I can't hear you.
Hold on, I read it. Trey Day says, most of our people hate themselves and each other. 2/3 of us will be casualties of war.
Exactly. That's what I was saying, 144,000.
Mm-hmm.
It may be a few more, but I want to go back to what Gerald was saying about the doing slave population.
Hold on one second, Shaka.
Yes, sir.
You read a comment? You read a comment, King?
Yeah.
I don't have it on my screen.
That's right. I read it, brother, man.
Is it I'm trying to find it. Okay, go ahead. What's the person's name?
Trey Day 326.
All right, go ahead. All right. Go ahead, Shaka. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out why the chat ain't low.
What Gerald was saying about the mother being the first teacher and the nurturer. Now, if the pregnant mother is tied to a tree and whipped while she's pregnant, the adrenaline and fear goes into the baby. And that's been passed on and on and on down to where we are, because we have this overwhelming fear of the Neanderthal and all its other subsidiaries, which the black woman, which came through the black woman. And this is why we do have this self-hate. Now, even in the 30s and 40s, when the black man used to be called boy, couldn't look the white man in the eye. He had, and that adrenaline and fear was in him too, for fear of being lynched. He would come home with that hatred towards his oppressor, and he would take it out on his wife and the children. This is where, you know, and a lot of us in the 60s had to deal with that as well. You know, the father would come home, they would get drunk, beat everybody's ass in the house because they were fearful of standing up to this devil because of the fact that they would lose their job and they wouldn't have the ability to put bread and butter on the table. So they had to endure that. It's the same way today. It's the same way today. But the roles have been reversed. The black woman goes to work with the fear of the Neanderthal, kisses his ass all day, kisses his ass, even though they talk about her hairstyle, her dreads at the water cooler, and she knows this, and she takes that humiliation, and then she comes home, and the roles have been reversed. Now she's the one going home cussing everybody out and pulling out the belt now. You know what I'm saying? So these are components that create this level of self-hatred. Self-hatred wasn't ingrained in the we weren't born like that. We weren't brought to the planet like that. How can the original people that are born in the image of the Most High and the likeness, meaning characteristics, mindset, behaviors, compassion levels, and how can all of a sudden the greatest people on the planet become the most self-hating, worst people on the planet? And it's been by design. And so a lot of times we don't want to look within. We always want to look outward, you know, and instead of looking within. Because Gerald said, you know, the family values, you know, talking to our children, deactivating their chips before they actually expand. And it's a whole nother generation of activated Willie Lynch chips, which will be more dangerous because of the level of technology today. You know, dealing with the children, dealing with the family, dealing in the community. You know, because it's no use of us going out in the community talking about saving the world and doing all this and that when your home life is fucked up. You know what I'm saying? You're no example. You know, but you know, we have to like also, and I'm gonna piggyback on what Gerald was saying about, you know, the community involvement. You know, it takes sacrifice. See, a lot of us are not willing to make any type of sacrifices. We want our liberation to be comfortable. We want our liberation to become smooth. We want our liberation to come without any bloodshed. Yeah, and it's never going to happen like that. It will never happen like that. And anybody, whether they on this viewing audience or whatever, think like that, you are out your damn mind, because it will never, ever happen like that. It's going to take sacrifice. Look at all our great leaders, you know, and I don't like to even keep, you know, talking about them too much, because their work was done. They laid the presidents down for us. They were the examples for us. And the more we keep trying to relive yesterday, the further we are go deeper in the hole today. You know, yes, they were great people. Yes, they were examples. Yes, they gave us the blueprint. It's up to us. Is what are we going to do with it? What are we going to do with it? And it has to be a collective effort. You know, just
Right.
like when we give these events and stuff. You know, you got thousands of people that come on these social media platforms. They got all this information and they black power this, they hotep that, they are shaying their asses off and all this type of stuff. They got 10-foot onks on, but then when it's time to actually show up to grow up so we can blow up, you know what I'm saying? People come up with 1,000 excuses because we want our liberation to come comfortable. It wasn't comfortable for our ancestors who were lynched, lobotomized, and our little children who were raped in the middle of the night, and their parents the mothers and fathers had to listen to these Neanderthals have their way with their babies, man. But you know, they paid a heavy price for us, and we don't want to do it. We don't want to put even an eighth of the work in, you know, to see this thing through so our children and grandchildren can at least have a glimpse, at
That's because we comfortable. We comfortable with our situation, man. That's why.
Yeah, we come.
Let me River Harris, because he always every weekend he made a statement. He said we were grown for generations to sabotage and hate each other in the system of white supremacy.
I want to read y'all something. Low self-esteem is 65.3% in the Black community. It's 89.9 higher than those 25s of age 40. Now you're dealing with internalized racism. 1 out of 3 Black Americans scoring high on that particular scale, linked to mental health, dealing with low self-esteem, and higher depression are at high risk. And the psychological symptoms is depression, anxiety, substance abuse, and those risks is elevated as well. And the psychological damage, as well as the psychic damage and the stress responses, are low motivation, self-doubt, emotional, and physical stress.
Because look at
these polls are updated. This was updated just last month.
Because look at the conditions that we gotta live in.
Yeah. When you're living in poverty, I mean, as I said, they wanted to administer that type of way of looking at it, that we don't have any foundation. But a lot of us that's on here now, we had a foundation. Might not have been structured the way we wanted it or we accepted it, but we learned to deal with it. We came out the neighborhood. You had to make life living decisions on a whim. You never know what was going to happen. So it's still the same. It's still the same repeated cycle. Nothing is changing. Only thing they do is they put vernacular behind it. They want to make it seem like it's this. They want to make it seem like it's that. No, it isn't. It's us as a people. People is what makes things go. Not books, not reading, not any of that. When we learn to get orderly, talking to one another, we're gonna accomplish things. And until then, we're not going to achieve anything. It's going to be overbloated. We're going to continue to just talk. And until we start putting forth some action, and I'm talking about those ones that's not here. I'm gonna speak towards them too. Money ain't everything.
Right.
If you're making money, that's fine, well and dandy. But guess what? Where the kids at? Why you don't know where your kids at? Why when you go to work, you don't know where your kids at? Your kids should be making a phone call, at least checking in every once in a while, so you know exactly where they at. Remember the radio station we used to listen to a long time ago, shout and say, where do you know where your children at? Come on, we just gotta we have to get out of this stagnant way of looking at life. We're not stagnated, man. Even me, I move around in a wheelchair. I'm not going to stay stagnated. And we got to show the kids you don't have to be stagnated. And the one thing I'm going to say, and I said it before, if you give a child something to look forward to, they're going to try to achieve it. If you give them nothing, don't expect nothing.
Let me ask you this. So do you guys think the role of social media and the cloud culture has an effect now as far as us as a people dealing with finances and money? Or are we more enthused with we supposed to be enthused with life, or are we more enthused with the likes? Everybody want to like, everybody want to follow.
I can tell you this, man. Social media have a heavy influence on our kids, the younger generation. Because go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm gonna finish my statement.
Look at a lot of kids are really just wannabes, following these knuckleheads on social media, and they fake themselves, but they're influencing our kids. You know, these fake rappers, it's all phony. It's all a facade. You know what I'm saying? But our kids are heavily influenced upon that. And that's not the only problem. You know what I'm saying? That's a part of the problem as well. Because these kids out here killing each other. Kids go on social media just to beef, just to argue.
Now let's remember now, that used to be us too. The television played a significant role in shaping minds and malleable minds back then also. So just can't say
Jared, so you trying to tell me we was on the internet beefing?
That's what I'm saying.
No, we beefed in the neighborhood, but it was induced in us from television. Come on, think about it. When we was coming up, we watched people like James Cagney, Humphrey Bogart, Edward G. Robinson, and then if you want to go talk about the cowboy movies, John Wayne and all the rest of them. And look, and then even Tarzan, the white man, had an influence on us. You know, he swung around people. We used to think we could do that. So it's not just the kids, it's the media. You had it right, Ken. It is the media. The media does that to every generation. But now you get more media than you did previously. Because we had the television.
We are getting more media.
Exactly. They got the cell phone, the iPads, the computers, the laptop, and the television. So they overwhelmed with negative vibes and everything, or what's being televised to them. So yeah, you know, so we can't just say it's the kids. We got to remove that from them.
No. I ain't say it's the kids. I said we had these young people on social media beefing with each other, and it's influencing our kids that's out here. Half of these kids ain't no thugs or no street people. A lot of them just don't be, but they following these idiots on social media. That's what I meant.
You know what? Trump said this today. He said those criminals are born like that.
Nah. Wow.
You know, he
basically. I want that Shaka question.
Okay.
Shaka. Do you feel the oral information is important or the book information is important? Do you think it'll help us better learning more from the elders orally, or do you feel like us reading books is better?
Well, it's two different parallels. When you sit down and you sit and talk with the elders, you get more of the energy of what they're talking about. See, when you read a book, you have to do a lot of deciphering and stuff like that, and sometimes you can get thrown off course. But when you sit among some real elders that have been through hell and have paved the way, you actually feel the emotion. You actually feel and get in touch with the pain. You actually get in touch with that personal experiences that they've had, and a lot of those, and that's more. You can better comprehend what they're saying as well as that energy, you know. But what Kim was saying about the social media and what Gerald was talking about, and it's true. Before it was social media, it was just media. You know, they had the same type of layout, you know, because we've been trained through media, not social media, but through the media and television to hate ourselves because there wasn't no people that looked like us. We didn't see our heroes and sheroes on the black and white televisions. You know, it was always, you know, the Neanderthal was always the hero, Superman, the Lone Ranger. Tonto he was just a hired hand. He was did the dirty work. You know, Amos and Andy, just buffoonery and coonery, you know, and that's been embedded. And when Ken was talking about the beefing, social media now just glorifies beefing. Beefing has always been, it didn't go to the degree that it is now because now serious beefing and murder has become entertainment on social media. Now it's entertaining, you know, when somebody say, man, did you see that on TikTok? But that dude, he blew his whole head off and he got ran, that's now that carnage becomes entertainment. And that goes back to that Willie Lynch syndrome where we enjoy to see the destruction of one another. You know, and then when we see those other people, these mass shootings and stuff, we side right with the Neanderthal and say, you know, the reason why he killed them little babies in church and all that because of mental health, you know, and we go along with this bullshit, you know, and support him going to a mental institution. But when a brother, you know, shoots the police, he automatically goes to death row, whether it's self-defense or not, you know. And so social media, along with PlayStation, Grand Theft Auto,
Black. Hey, not to cut you off. They had a video game come out, and a lot of black people took off work to play the video game. I'm gonna find out the name of it. It might be Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, it had to be.
Took off work to play this crazy game.
Now, even when you talk about, you know, these military troops occupying these cities, you know, once again, we're playing into the narrative. You know, they still killing. They doing 50-something people got killed in Chicago over the Labor Day weekend. Just like it happened in DC several years ago in Trinidad. How do we know that these people that are pulling the trigger in Chicago are not FBI and CIA operatives posing as gang members?
That's right.
You never know.
There you go.
Because it happened in Washington, D.C. and Trinidad. They had FBI agents posing as street niggas doing all this killing. And see, what that does is push a narrative to push our people away from the youth. We don't even want to speak to the youth no more because we think we're going to get jacked. And, you know, I see youth every day. I work with them every day on these campuses, man. They're nothing like the media portrays them, man. Nothing like it,
they're
man.
not. They're not.
Look at Jaleel and Ken and all these other people, man, that these black, brilliant, you know, unmolested minds, man. They haven't been tarnished. They haven't been shaped. You know, that, you know, their father and their grandfather has, you know, laid his life out to put a covenant over them to protect them from these forces of evil. And this is key that we get out here and be 10 toes down with these people, man. Because we can talk about how we hate each other and not do nothing about it, and it's just going to escalate. They're going to keep pushing these agendas. You know, how can you got 10,000 National Guard troops, ATF, FBI, Homeland Security, U.S. Park Service, and Park Police and D.C. Police, and they still got murders in D.C. this weekend without some type of script or plan behind this shit.
Right. I want to piggyback off Shaka. I talk to a lot of youth now. They're looking for safe spaces, and they're also looking for conflict resolution. Listen to me.
All they want.
Safe spaces.
All they want.
I talk to someone like on Bankhead, you know, College Park, MLK, Ralph David Abernathy. I speak with the youth. They're looking for safe, and a lot of them are tired.
They
A
are.
lot of them are tired. And when I say tired, they like, I'm tired. Like some of them just want to walk away from life because they're so tired with the things that go on within their
Mhm.
lives. And a lot of them are looking for, somewhere to really be somewhere and think. You got to think about it. In the black communities, we have the loudest communities. We're never given a real opportunity to think. We always got something is always loud. Loud. You're not gonna think in a loud community. That's gonna keep your intensity level up. That's gonna keep that lower chakra constantly rising up. Because we never give an opportunity to be in a safe, quiet space.
Because the average black youth between the ages of 12 and 19 attend 7 funerals that are non-family members.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of trauma. That's
Yeah.
a lot of trauma, man, to see people, the elders passing out, to see people, having these nervous breakdowns, to see parents resort to alcohol and drugs and suicidal thoughts and homicidal thoughts and even fratricidal thoughts, man. That's a lot of trauma. That's not including that. That's not including their grandmother, who they look at as a mother. That's not including their favorite uncle who was in the streets, but he had the infinite wisdom. You know what I'm saying? That's not including none of those individuals. I'm just talking about just peers, schoolmates, the next door neighbor, people they was in the sandbox with. They got to
Mm-hmm.
actually walk past these caskets. 7 between the age of 12 and 19. That means once a year, they got to deal with a situation like that. They have to deal with that level of trauma. And that's why I say a lot of this stuff is by design. They want to and these little homicides they've been having in Chicago. See, I think it was a plot in the script because they don't have the the black youth ratio. It's not that high, but they
Mm-hmm.
can have all these killings like this and still have all these youths in the city of Chicago. If you look at the youth population from 2020 to 2025, and then you got 50. They had one weekend they had another 40. One weekend they had 50 and 60. The numbers don't add up. The numbers do
You you
not add
you
up,
telling
man.
you telling the truth. Somebody brought that out on social media. They say for the amount of violence, and they saying the youth is doing it. He said you would need to put double or triple the youth in these particular areas for this particular
Mm-hmm.
violence to happen. Double or triple the youth. That's pretty good what you brought out because that makes sense. If you got 85% crime, you only got 30% youth. So so 30% youth doing 85% crime? Impossible.
You got about 13% of Chicago that has youth. 13%. The rest of the people are working class and adults and elders.
Mm-hmm.
And so of that 13%, you may be talking about 170, 180,000 youths.
Right.
Now how all of these youths within the last 5 years, thousands, I'm talking about in the thousands, can be eliminated. And the population and the numbers don't change in terms of their population. It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up in Washington, D.C. either.
See, I was getting ready to say that, Shaka. Washington, D.C., you don't have them youths running around like that. It's a lot
These
of them
are
out there
plans
working.
and plots to eliminate,
Mm-hmm.
occupy, and exterminate black youth. I told y'all, man, the black youth and Nixon's, the big news, Zabrinsky, Noam Chomsky, Hoover, all of them discussed that, man. That they
Right.
said that they had to eliminate the warring guerrilla, the black urban youth. They were the greatest threat to global white supremacy and global white annihilation. They are the greatest threat because number one, they're fearless. They'll die
Fearless.
for what they believe in.
Yeah.
Plus, they had the reproduction gland, the black penis, to recreate whole nations. You know what I'm saying? And they are the threat. They are the threat. This is why these Neanderthal women are trying to mate with them. They're
Yeah.
trying to mate with them,
Yeah.
man, because they're trying to extend their bloodline.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the whole thing. The whole thing now is to get with the black, all the commercials, interracial commercials.
Yeah, they show
with the
that
black
too.
man.
You're right, Thomas. Yeah.
Hey, Trey said the truth, and I totally agree with this. He said, tell the government to stop dropping guns off in our inner cities and the crime will cease.
Yeah, we know they bring everything. We know we don't bring drugs in the neighborhood. How they get there? We ain't running
the NRA brings the guns in. Now, who's the top supporter of the NRA that's in the White House?
The president and them. The president.
J.D. Vance.
Yeah.
J.D. Vance is a board of directors for the NRA, man. It's no coincidence, man, that Kanks, I call Trump Kanks. Kanks got J.D. Vance, who was a cross-dresser at Yale, and his mother was a drug addict, to have him planted in the White House. Nobody heard of him, man. Nobody heard of him. When he was in Yale, he was a cross-dresser. A drag queen. And I showed the pictures yesterday.
And Shock, his last vice president, Pence, had I forgot which one of the liquors it was, but every time he sold a bottle of liquor, part of that went to the NRA.
Yeah, the NRA, which that devil Charlton Heston ran the NRA. Charlton Heston ran the NRA. I'm talking about starch racists. And Charlton Heston was a devil. He was a straight devil, and he was a Neanderthal, because in that movie, that white devil kissed a monkey. He tongue kissed a monkey in that first Planet of the Apes movie back in the 70s. He fell in love with a monkey, man.
They are monkeys.
And so this is how they go, man. They just had a big orgy at the White House. You got J.D. Vance, a drag queen. You had Zelensky, who's a cross-dresser. You had Obama in there, who's like a Aunt Jemima Pang. He flip-flops. He's the one that went out and told the world that black boys need to link up with gay black men so they can be compassionate and understanding. All of them got together in the White House. That's why if you saw the footage of Putin, it wasn't Israel. It was China, India, and Russia. Putin and them were in a circle laughing. They make fun. They make fun because Trump is Putin's puppet.
I wouldn't disagree.
It's deeper than what people think, man.
Before we end the show, man, you guys go ahead and give your final thoughts.
You gotta stop beefing, because years ago, Craig Harris once said in the song, that's what these other people want to see, another race fight innocent. So until we start to beefing, we'll get them more power. We just gotta stop. You gotta stop beefing. I don't know how can we stop it. All I know is destroying us. We destroying ourselves with this crazy stuff, man.
A race war, it won't even be a race war. It'll be the poor against the poor whites against poor blacks, while the globalists sit back and eat off the carcasses of the poor whites and poor blacks, man. I would never participate in no shit like that, man. Now if it was us going up against Big Pharma and some other corporate thugs, then I'm all in.
Yeah, that's the that's the system. The system is what's keeping us down.
I say it's inevitable that as we've been viewing our young youths, there is a point of salvage there, and it's a point where I say each child has their own problems, but adults, we have our problems, but we gotta save our kids from destruction. And the only way we're gonna do that, we gotta be participants in their life. We have to stop saying that it's just the kids, because it's the adults too. Because the adults got to be active in their lives. So I say what we need to do to counteract that sort of confrontations and battle and beefs, just get over it. I mean, come on. The simplest thing is we just got to teach them to get over it. You know how they used to say when we was being reared and endowed with things, sticks and stone may break my bone, but names never hurt me.
You right, because we not raising our kids, man.
Exactly. If we take an opportunity with them, man, we will be. I think each and every one of us will have something real good to say about our kids. They probably be doing this show.
Right. Yeah.
But they do have creative minds.
Yeah, well, we need to get rid of this drill music and this trap music and all this BS too, man. That ain't doing no good. I never thought it'll be a day when I say that, but it's the truth, man.
Yeah, the Jews use that though. They got creative minds. Our kids have very creative minds. As Shaka said earlier, they only get those stigmas from watching the media and watching these things that they see on an everyday basis. If that is removed from their life and give them purpose, man, they'll be diligent about life.
Yeah, you're right, but we got to learn to be a village again. We're not even the village, man.
I agree with you, Ken.
The main key why all this stuff is happening. It's disconnections between us and our youth.
It's a disconnection. My final thoughts is self-love must be chosen and built, and we must protect our self-love. We have to affirm our blackness. Stop being ashamed of you being black. You know, there's power in you affirming your blackness. And we have to start loving each other. Tell your brother you love him. A lot of times that's a hard word to say because it's not in the household. And there is a disconnect between the youth and the adults. But we have to reconnect because to sum it all up for this show, the media plays an intricate part in keeping that disconnect. Multi-ethnic destruction in America. Maniac. European devils in action.
Yo, it was a good episode. For those who haven't subscribed to the channel, help us get to 500. We're on the road to 500 subscribers. And also, you can check us out, Vocal Dialect, on TikTok, IG, and Facebook as well. And you check out our General, T. Shaka Sankofa. Go follow him on Facebook. That's the General, T. Shaka Sankofa. He come on in the evenings, usually between 7 to 8:30 p.m. So go to his Facebook page and follow him. And when the next time you coming on, Jimmy?
Tomorrow night. Permission from the Most High and the ancestors. It will be tomorrow night.
Yes, sir.
All right. Vocal Dialect. Check out Shaka tomorrow.